Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
That was something. That was a game of all time. That was in fact one of the games of all time. Welcome in to Game Over Toronto following a 6-3 loss, but really it was 6-2, and then Steven Lorentz got a garbage time goal against the Edmonton Oilers. The score honestly was kind of generous to the Leafs. That got real bad real quick. It was not a good time on Hockey Night in Canada. Like, unless you're an Oilers fan. If you're an Oilers fan, you had a great time. And Tristan Jarry's first game as an Oiler, Spencer Stastny's first game as an Oiler. We'll probably have to talk about that. All the chaos that happened yesterday around the league. That was horrible. Horrible, man. I've got no words for how bad the Leafs were in this one. So welcome in, everyone. We are going to talk about everything regarding this game, and we'll check in with some of the big news that happened around the NHL yesterday. But before we do, as always, just a reminder to hit that like button and subscribe to Game Over Toronto. We are live after most Toronto Maple Leafs games. Follow the Game Over Network on social medias. You can follow me at Zach Payne 41 on Twitter, Bluesky, and YouTube. It's, so for those of you who are new here, as you know, for the regulars, first period, we just talk about the game. Second period is a bigger story. Third period is a smaller story. Fourth period is a Q&A. Because the Leafs game was so bad and I don't have an appetite to talk about it, what's actually going to happen is the first period, we're going to talk about the game. The second period, we're going to talk about the Oilers trades that they made yesterday. Third period, we're going to talk about the Quinn Hughes trade. Fourth period, we're going to do a Q&A. This will probably be a quicker show because I don't have that much to say, to be honest. It was just bad. So I see that Luke and David are checking in. Luke saying, my boys and I have started a new tradition, Hawk Dog Sunday. We make hot dogs and watch the hockey. This was not a good first Hawk Dog Sunday. Yeah, no. I would love for me back here in Canada, I would love to fast forward to Sunday because this was horrible. That was just horrible. David checking in. It's hard to know if he'll be a starter. He'll be good. That said, I see the pressure there too if the Leafs continue, basically, I'm paraphrasing, but if the Leafs are continuing on this trajectory, then trading a player or two. Honestly, I don't even think it's going to take the Leafs losing. Matias Maccelli's gone. Right? Matias Maccelli is getting traded. I'd be shocked if he was still here by the new year because Berube just doesn't like him. So the Leafs are going to make a move anyways. Man. And I'm half in this camp. If you're a Morgan Rielly hater, it was a good night to be on that side of the Rielly discourse because he was horrible in this game. So to start off, Oliver Ekman-Larsson somehow is playing in this game after the injury he sustained on Thursday, where his ankle gets folded and he was unable to put any weight on it, and somehow he played in this game. So I'll give him credit for that. He was pretty bad defensively. That top pair was horrible defensively. Joshua out with an illness. Nylander barely played with an illness. He looked like the shot of him on the bench at the end, he looked like he was ready to throw up, but not a great game from Nylander. Oilers have Jarry and Spencer Stastny in the lineup after the trades they made yesterday, and then 3 minutes in, this just set the tone for the game right away. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, whenever the Oilers and Leafs play, 1 out of 3 or 4 games, the Leafs will absolutely stonewall them. 1 out of 3 games, McDavid gets nothing. The other games, he is so nuclear that it's just ridiculously unfair. This was one of the nuclear games. 3 minutes in, McDavid gets the puck in transition off of a wall turnover, and I'll mention the wall line later. And Bouchard gives it to him at the Oilers' blue line, maybe a little bit further than the Oilers' blue line. Oliver Ekman-Larsson turns his back, not a good idea. Morgan Rielly skates to the other side of the defensive zone. McDavid just turns on the Jets, skates in a straight line, and gets a breakaway. No one even tries to stop him. Horrible early rep from the Rielly and OEL pair, and McDavid opens the scoring. Sorry, Hildeby, you just have to face a breakaway against the best player in the league right away. And then right after that, Domi with an offensive zone penalty, which was also bad. On the penalty kill, Hildeby robs Hyman backdoor, gets the pad down, and then Stetcher and McCabe block a rebound on an empty net. But it was a horrible, horrible start for the Leafs. Benoit and Nyes get a 2-on-1. Yes, that's a real thing. And Benoit hits Nyes. The defender overcommitted to Nyes, so he kind of had a little bit of a lane. First shot stopped by Jarry. The rebound was open, but Darnell Nurse gets back in time to knock that one away. Regula? Is that how you pronounce that name? Dangles through half the Leafs defense on a cycle chance and gets a grade A but misses the net. In transition, Scott Lawton and Easton Cowan. Lawton just throws a lazy backhand on net and Jarry is unable to corral the rebound. Easton Cowan crashes and buries it to tie the game at 1. Good job for Easton Cowan. It's good for him to get kind of a confidence booster for him because he's kind of been falling off a little bit as of late. So it's good to see him get hopefully some mojo back with that one. Tavares got himself a breakaway after a nice poke check at the blue line, but that's turned away by Jarry. Seconds after that, and I mean seconds after that, Draisaitl going the other way, feeds Podkolzin in front for like a sort of breakaway, just in alone in front in the offensive zone, and Hildeby has to make a big shoulder stop. It was honestly a good shot by Podkolzin, but Hildeby's just too tall to get it over him. And then in transition at the end of the period, Tavares hits Matthews. He tried to do his curl and drag, but I think it was Ekholm got his stick on Matthews' stick, kind of interrupted the pass there. Early on in the second, Henrique gets a deflection chance in transition. Matthews then in the offensive zone, incredible play to keep the puck alive with one hand, to keep the cycle going, and then puck bounces out of the corner. Matthews fakes a one-timer, hits Domi for a one-timer. That stop puck, or the rebound goes to Nyes. He hits OEL buries. Great shot by OEL. Great play by the top line. Matthews doesn't get an assist on the play, but make no mistake, that goal does not happen without Austin Matthews keeping that play alive and starting the play with the nice pass to Domi. Bit of a soft hooking call against Tavares, and then Hildeby had to make a couple of big saves on Draisaitl and then one on Bouchard on that penalty kill, but the Leafs survive. This is the one game, like, the Leafs penalty kill is good. However, the Oilers penalty or power play is so good that it doesn't really matter how good your penalty kill is. McDavid and Draisaitl will do things on it regardless. So they got their chances, but Hildeby stood tall. And then in transition after that, Nyes absolutely demolished Spencer Stasny. That was a huge hit. I love to see Nyes throwing his weight around a little bit more. And then an unfortunate one. McDavid in transition just throws it in front, throws it into traffic, and Troy Stetcher forgets that he's no longer on the Edmonton Oilers and buries it into the back of the net on his own net to tie the game at 2. So it goes down as McDavid's second of the night, even though he didn't do anything. So that's unfortunate. Then away from the play, Podkolzin takes down McCabe. That gives the Leafs their only power play of the night. Matthews and Tavares have chances, but they miss the net on them. Second unit was just OEL ripping it. Like the second unit, Ekman Larsson, I think, shot the puck 4 times when the second unit was out there. There were rebounds available. Jarry doesn't have great rebound control, but the Leafs unable to get to those rebounds in time. Nyes with a nice transition chance off a steal, and he makes the nice move. You know, like the little push move where you put it in between the stick and the skate, and he like puts it in between there and then flicks it on. Nice chance by Nyes, but it was turned away. And then end of the second. This killed me. Nick Robertson, below the goal line in the offensive zone, throws a no-look pass in front to no one in particular, and as a result, the Oilers get the puck and break out. And now you have McDavid and Draisaitl out there against the third line. Remember what happened the first time that they were out there against that line. McDavid into the offensive zone, hits Draisaitl. The entire Leafs team at this point is committed to the one side. Darnell Nurse on the backside. Draisaitl hits him, and Nurse buries the one-timer to give the Oilers a 3-2 lead. You really see what happens when elite players go out against average players, because the average players are so hyper fixated on them that they overcommit, they get caught puck watching, and Nurse is able to sneak in on the backside, gives the Oilers the lead. That was with 31 seconds to go in the second period. At the start of the third period, off a face-off early, Draisaitl just throws it on. Hildeby makes the stop, but it hits off Podkolzin, the rebound does, and into the net. Good job by Podkolzin, drive the net, and good things happen. That makes the lead 4-2, and like 30 seconds after, that was like a minute in, and like 30 seconds after that, OEL with a brutal turnover in the neutral zone, and then he aggressively pinches to try to prevent the play. He's unable to, so now you have Draisaitl rushing against Tavares. Draisaitl is able to feed Podkolzin in the middle. Morgan Rielly is allegedly defending him, but he is all over him in the sense that he's right on top of him, but he does absolutely nothing to tie him up or tie his stick up. Podkolzin's able to deflect that one into the net. And just like that, within 2 minutes and 26 seconds of game time, we go from a 2-2 game to a 5-2 Oilers lead. And then off the rush a few moments later, or not off the rush, it was off of a nice turnover that at the Leafs blue line, and the Oilers head downhill. Nugent-Hopkins gets a chance, it's stopped, but then he pokes it off McCabe from behind the net, and it hits Hyman at the side of the goal, and he buries the rebound. Mercy pulling for Dennis Hildeby. He was honestly perfectly fine, very similar to the Joseph Wool pulling against the Habs a few weeks ago, where it's not the goaltender's fault, but you got to get him out of there because the team is not performing in front of him. So Artur Akhtiamov gets in his first little bit of NHL action, which he stopped, as David says, he stopped all 4 shots he faced. So technically he did his job, but that was just brutal for the Leafs. And then, like I said, with a minute left, Lorentz gets a garbage goal. It was a perfectly fine goal, but garbage time goal where Jarry just wasn't ready for it, not prepared for the one-timer, and Lorentz is able to bury. And that gets us to our final score of 6-3. Horrible game from the OEL and Riley pair. David saying, like, OEL scored but was a -3. Slow-mo Riley blocked a shot but was a -3 as well. I mean, the special teams, when you have one power play, I don't care that you don't score. They got some chances, that was fine. But the 2 penalty kills, they survived, I guess is the best way to put it. But yeah, the Riley OEL pair was horrible. Really bad game from Morgan Riley. There's no other way to put it. He was horrible in this one. I will note that I see that Chris was saying Matthews ghosted. And while that's true somewhat, I mean, he did create a goal, but he didn't get a point for it. The one thing I will say is McDavid had like 4 points in this game, but the goal at the start and then the goal at the end of the second period, the only 2 times that McDavid was on the ice against a non-Matthews line, aka the Nick Waugh line in this case, which is Yarncroke and Robertson in this one, the only 2 times McDavid was out there against anyone other than Matthews, immediate goal. Immediate. Matthews was the only one that could at least somewhat keep McDavid in check. Obviously, it's hard when Stetcher's burying shots into his own net. But, oh my lord, the second McDavid got out against anybody else, instant goal. It was insane how efficiently they were converting on chances in this one. I'm pretty sure 4 of the goals the Oilers scored came off of turnovers and in transition. They are the exact type of team to take advantage of the Craig Berube Leafs. So, not a good game from the Leafs. And honestly, that's all I really want to say about it. The Leafs might have needed their power play to be good or to draw more penalties, but had their defensive awareness not been so much of a disaster. It's not even so much the defensive awareness. Like, obviously, yes. But the thing that pissed me off the most is you go into a third period that you're losing. Okay? The Oilers were up 3-2 going into that third period. And what were the shots in the third period? Because I know halfway through it was a disaster. 11-6, but 2 of them came at the end of the period. But you get outscored 3-1 in a period that a third period you were losing the whole time? Unacceptable. Unacceptably horrible effort to start the third period for the Leafs. They honestly were perfectly... okay, oh man, I had to go run an errand for the last half of the game. It was 2-2. What happened? So you remember in the playoffs, in games 5 and 7 against Florida, when Florida would score 1 goal to get a lead, and then that was the game? Yeah, that happened. The Oilers got the lead, and the Leafs powered down. The third period was a joke. Complete joke. So, yeah, that's all I want to say about the Leafs. That was the game. Oilers win 6-3. Now, let's focus in the second period on some NHL news, because we actually got some big pieces of NHL news. Now, it's funny to talk about this because he obviously started tonight and won tonight, but we do have to talk about the Edmonton Oilers trading for Tristan Jarry and Spencer Stastny. So they send Brett Kulak, Stuart Skinner, and a second-round pick in 2029. So they're trading a 14-year-old, basically, for Tristan Jarry. And I will be honest, I don't love the move for the Oilers. I had the stats. I'm going to pull these up for you guys. These are the goals saved above expected per 60 minutes, so basically per game, over the last 3 seasons. So far, heading into tonight this year, Jari had 0.725, Skinner was at 0.314, so Jari's a little, marginal upgrade this season. Last year, Jari was at negative 0.1, Skinner was at negative 0.03, basically the same. 23-24, same thing, but like 0.05 for Jari, 0.03 for Skinner. So in the regular season, over the last 3 years, they've been mostly the same. In the playoffs, Jari has only played one full series in 2021, and in that series, his expected goals saved above expected per 60 was negative 1.19 in that series against the Islanders. That you'll also remember he had the hilarious turnover that cost the Penguins an overtime game. That was really funny. And then Skinner is at least at 0.083 in 24 and dead even 0 last year. So Skinner is a perfectly mid goalie. Jari is mostly mid, but also has just as low of a floor. I really don't know what the Oilers are doing. Jari was on waivers last year, and now you're sending an asset to go get him for more money and longer term. So if it doesn't work out, it's really going to blow up in your face. I really don't like that from the Oilers at all. It just seems like really bad asset management. I will say the Spencer Stastny trade was good because I think he's 25 years old. He's got good underlying numbers. He's a good Kulak replacement, and you send out a 3rd-round pick for him. The Predators trade him away for some godforsaken reason. So that was a good trade. He obviously he got buried by Nyza this one on the big hit, but he was perfectly acceptable in this game. I question the Jari trade, man. I really question that Jari trade. And again, obviously, he started tonight and won. That said, I wasn't impressed with him tonight. His rebound control was all over the place, especially like that Cowan goal was a joke from Jari. You can't be giving that kind of rebound up on a soft backhand like that. So, interesting trade, to say the least. Interesting trade. But I'm curious to see how you guys feel about it, because obviously we're Leaf fans, and so looking at this from kind of an outside perspective, Stuart Skinner was bad. However, still a goalie that got you to the Stanley Cup Finals, and Jari has shown that he has a lower floor in the playoffs. So, I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to watch over the rest of the season. Obviously, maybe a change of scenery is all he needed, but Matthew saying I missed the end of the second and the beginning of the third, and we what happened? Matt, you and OKO both, Matthew. You guys, you checked out for the exact wrong amount of time, and as soon as you guys stopped watching, bad things happened. Yeah. It's way too early to say if Jari's an upgrade. I agree. I obviously he was perfectly fine tonight. I'm not worried. Hildeby's save percentage was bad, but I mean, we can call a spade here. Yes, Hildeby's stat line looks bad. Hildeby, the Leafs completely folded in front of him. I don't look at this as Hildeby just had a bad game. No, Hildeby was perfectly fine. The Leafs just had a bad game in front of him. So, yeah, anyways, I'm very curious to see long-term what Jari is going to be for the Oilers, because there's a real chance that nothing changes. And the Oilers spend a 2nd and 3rd round pick to swap out Kulak for Stastny and then just break even. They said that the thing that's interesting to me is they said they didn't want to make a lateral move, and they made a lateral move. So maybe a change of scenery will do it for Jari, but I really question that. But as we switch over to the third period here, the even bigger trade that happened yesterday, out of nowhere, the Minnesota Wild acquire Quinn Hughes. What? Out of left field. We heard all kinds of teams rumored to be in that. The Devils were obviously the big one. The Hurricanes were in talks. There was another one in the Metro, I'm pretty sure. But all kinds of teams making calls. We didn't hear a peep about the Minnesota Wild. And then out of nowhere, the Wild acquire Quinn Hughes for a 2026 first-round pick. Marco Rossi, Liam Ogren, and Zeev Bayum, is that how you pronounce that name? Honestly, pretty good haul for the Canucks. I actually like that for them if they're going to just tear this thing down and rebuild. Not a bad deal for the Canucks. Obviously, trading Quinn Hughes stinks, but he wasn't going to re-sign there, and so you got to do what you got to do. For the Wild, I mean, their center depth is a joke right now, but you got to imagine at the deadline, they're just going to find the best center available. The Wild are going for it, man. I fully respect it. They're just going to they're shooting their shot. They've got this year and next year to go for it, and then Hughes will probably go sign in New Jersey, but it's out of left field. What do you guys think of that move, by the way? What do you guys think? Who do you think wins that trade? It's interesting. Matthew saying Jari likes driving his truck in the country life. I think it will bring back all-star Jari. That'd be crazy. But yeah, I mean, he'll fit right in Alberta. I'll say that. As an Albertan myself, he'll fit right in probably if that's his attitude. Yeah. So yeah. But Quinn Hughes trade came out of nowhere for the Wild. I will say, so I live in Calgary, right? The first thing I did, I was like, when do the Wild come to town? They already came to town. So I was like, damn it. Because seeing Kaprizov and Hughes live, that would have been a treat. Watching the Wild power play is going to be so fun, honestly. Like I like Minnesota. I'm gonna be keeping an eye on them down the stretch of the season. They that's an interesting all-in move though. I will say for like trading Marco Rossi when you have no centers, interesting, but I don't know. We'll see. It works for the Canucks because when Pettersson's back, then you have Pettersson as the one, and if he can ever do anything ever again, maybe you just trade Pettersson too. And then you got Rossi as your second line center. I heard Canucks fans saying they can finally stop saying Quinn is the best defenseman. Yeah, because they had to argue that he was better than Makar. I keep in touch with a guy I met in Vancouver. He's not happy with the trade. I think for the Canucks, obviously you're never going to be happy trading a superstar. I think they did as good as they could have done in the trade. I think that's the best way to put it. Obviously, you lose. Anytime you have to trade a superstar, you lose. It's the same with like when the Leafs were losing Marner. It's like, yeah, this sucks. They lost Marner. At least they got something for him, kind of thing. Right? With Quinn Hughes, you're going to lose him anyways. You get a haul for him, and you get some really good young pieces. I think Bayum is going to be really good for them. He could easily be like a top pair defenseman. He's 20 years old right now, and he's pacing for 35 points in his rookie year. He's easily going to be like a 60-point defenseman if he's given the right opportunity in the future. So they at least get a top pairing defenseman back, or future top pairing defenseman back. And then Ogren, we'll see. He's kind of okay, and then Rossi is pretty good, and then that first round pick probably going to be in the mid-20s, but it's another first round player for the Canucks if they can hit on that pick. So yeah, the Canucks are tearing it down. If they tank, I think it's worth it, but they need to tank. Yeah, it's a full teardown for them. It's a full teardown. The Leafs may not be able to quite easily trade Matthews, Nylander, or Riley. Okay, so first of all, they are all. That is those are completely different tiers. Matthews and Nylander are not getting traded, and Morgan Riley is not. You're not fetching much in return for him. You're just getting him off the books. Matthews and Nylander aren't being traded though. That's not happening. They have to want to be that bad. If they don't make the playoffs, it will be just. I mean, yeah. You got so. So David and anyone else who's on the Leafs like blow it up train, I would say go look at Brad Treliving's record in Calgary. The Flames mastered the art of being mediocre, and the Leafs are now becoming that. Where they have the Flames, they had some of the talent the Flames had. They had prime Johnny Gaudreau. They had young Matthew Tkachuk. They had Elias Lindholm sniping 40 goals. They had prime Sean Monahan. Like, they had really good teams. Mark Giordano and TJ Brody in their primes, right? Like, they had really good teams that never clicked. It never figured it out. They were always right on the cusp of the playoffs. They'd sometimes sneak in. They'd sometimes miss. Once every 5 years, they would black out and win the division. That's what the Leafs are turning into. They're just turning into exactly what Brad Treliving had in Calgary, where they have pieces that you like, and it just never really clicks. It never really works out the way you want it to, and sometimes they'll win the division, maybe even win a playoff series, and then they'll lose in the second round. That's what the Leafs are becoming, and that's what the Leafs are going to be. With the way they are planning to trade out players, they will AHL player tank if they can. Oh yeah, the Canucks are going to blow this thing up to the studs. But David, I understand that, like, yes, it's too easy to see whether they'll make the playoffs. They will be in the race, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, they're not tanking. The Leafs are not going to be bad enough to tank. For as much as I would love Gavin McKenna, the Leafs are never going to be bad enough to do that. That sounds like a good play. Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of the AHL, actually, as I'll turn this over to the last segment in a second, I want to bring this up. Did you guys see the chaos that happened between the Marlies and the Laval Rocket, the AHL affiliate of the Habs, the other day? Because, oh my lord, did some things happen. So basically, Michael Pezzetta, he runs over a Rocket player, and he just absolutely so it was Mark Del Gaizo kind of hits him in the head, and then Florian Jacquet and him drop the gloves, and then the Rocket bench clears to jump Pezzetta as he fights with like 4 different people. It was the funniest thing on earth. And so Pezzetta gets a 3-game suspension, and then 4 different Rocket players jumped off the bench to get in a scrum with Pezzetta, and they also get suspended because obviously you can't leave the bench to get in a fight. It was hilarious. The clip, if you guys can, I wonder if I can, I want to post, like, just search up Pezzetta's name on Twitter. It is the funniest clip ever, and honestly, get Pezzetta up with the Leafs for a game or two. Next time the Leafs play the Lightning, Pezzetta needs to be in the lineup because Kucherov needs to die. And not even like, oh, Kucherov did something. No, it's literally like Dakota Mermis got hurt from a dirty knee on knee, so the next time we play Tampa, everyone is dying. It needs to be. Actually, that's also going to... I'm going to turn us over to our 4th period right now. And I'm going to I'm going to monologue for a second. This is the part of the show, by the way, where we invite your questions. So if you have any Leafs-related questions, this is the time to ask them. I'm going to quickly monologue about the Leafs while you guys get some questions going. Did Pezzetta win? Not really, but he kind of lost the fight. He held his own, and then he fought the entire bench at once. It was hilarious. So he wins in the sense that he got suspended and he brought 4 guys into suspension with him. So good for him. One of them was Sammy Blais, by the way. One of the Rocket players that got suspended was Sammy Blais. So with that, in talking about the Lightning, and yeah, next time the Leafs play the Lightning, it needs to be a melee. In a game like this, the thing against the Oilers tonight for the Leafs, what pissed me off the most, honestly, if you're going to lose, and if you're going to lose in embarrassing fashion, get your pound of flesh. I'm beyond, look, we can call a spade. The Florida Panthers, whenever they lose a playoff game or lose a game in general, it's a melee, right? They just start swinging because they don't care anymore. The Leafs claim they want to play like that. Prove it. In a game like this where you're losing 6-2 in the 3rd period, Max Domi should be taking heads off, right? Take someone's head off. Put McDavid into the boards. I'm sorry. Yes, get suspended. I don't care. Just get your pound of flesh. At least make sure that if you're going to lose, you're getting something for it. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. So dumb. Okay, how long can we ride Hildeby until he's injured too? Guess we're going to find out. Although Joseph Woll shouldn't be out long term. Woll should be back in the next few games. Do you think that Hildeby just had one bad game blip? I don't even think Hildeby was bad. Honestly? Okay, so the goals tonight. McDavid breakaway. Okay. The second goal was a Stetcher own goal. Third goal is Nurse one-timer because the entire defense overcommitted to one side to defend Draisaitl and McDavid. Fourth goal is you make the save and then the rebound hits off a shin pad and in. Fifth goal, Morgan Riley doesn't tie up a guy in front and it's deflection and transition. Sixth goal, rebound on the side of the net because your team stopped playing. Honestly, look, yes, Hildeby probably needs to save a couple of those. The team was so bad defensively in front of him that I don't blame him. I don't even think he was bad. If you can't run them up, fill them in. Exactly. Asking a good question, particularly with no return yet for Wool or Stolars. I will say Joseph Wool should be back this week sometime. Like he's been skating. Anthony Stolars, I don't know. He might never play again. We have not heard a peep on Stolars. We just keep hearing that he's not skating. So, would you put Lawton as 1C and put Matthews on his wing with Nyes? Why would Matthews not be a center? Matthews is one of the better face-off men in the league, and for as much as we get mad at his offense, he's a good defensive shutdown center at least. So, there's no world where Matthews is not the center. Hildeby was great. He wasn't great enough to replace the entire D-corps. Yeah. Also, send Morgan Riley to Siberia as well. What do you think Berube should do to keep them playing after the midpoint of the second? Would you go back to the good first period, terrible second, come back? So the thing is with this game, the Leafs were perfectly fine for 39 minutes and 15 seconds, and then Robertson inexplicably puts the puck between his legs to no one in the middle of the ice, and then they overcommit defensively, and they go down 3-2, and the third period was a write-off. It was a write-off. We sucked in the face. Yeah, I know tonight we sucked in the face-off, but the Leafs are generally a good face-off team, so I'm willing to forgive them for that. But yeah, Draisaitl had a great night in the dot. Matthews doesn't have the heart to run a line anymore. Scott Lawton doesn't. I know you're saying it tongue-in-cheek, but I mean, yeah, but the thing is, Matthew, if Matthews can't run a line, what are we doing here? The season's over. The Leafs aren't doing, like, they might make the playoffs. The Leafs are never going to do anything if Matthews is never going to be a superstar again. Plain and simple. Is someone getting scratched? You mean other than Michelli? Robertson might get scratched for what he did tonight. I think when Joshua's back, I think Robertson might come out for a game. But defensively, until guys get healthy, not much you can do, honestly. I will say I liked Henry Thrun. And when Tanev comes back, I'd rather have Thrun in the lineup than Benoit. Although Benoit was pretty good tonight. Actually, that's 2 out of 3 games that Benoit's been good. So, Matthews made some great plays tonight. Not enough to justify his play check. Yeah, Matthews is in this weird zone where he's doing good things, but compared to last year, Matthews looks like more of an individual threat to score and to make plays offensively. Compared to either of his 60-goal seasons, he looks terrible. He just doesn't have the same juice offensively that he used to. And part of that is I don't even know. When we were winning the bottom 6 or Willie Tavares were carrying the offense, the bottom 6 needs to score a goal per game, right? Like, that's the idea, is the top 2 lines should, in theory, each score a goal per game, and the bottom 6 scores 1, and there's 3 goals, and that should be, on most nights, it'll be enough to win. Too inconsistent. Way too inconsistent. By the way, give Nylander a few games off. Say he's hurt, he is hurt. He's sick, he's hurt, he hasn't looked like himself. Just give him a night or 2 off. Tavares is doing his best. Tavares is snake bitten right now. His effort has been incredible the last few games, but he's just not getting rewarded. Feel for Tavares there. Might be on it. The other thing too is maybe give a few games to Nylander back on the top line with Matthews. Maybe just give it a few games. Try to get them going again, because you need more. You just need more juice. All right, folks. I think that's going to be all she wrote for this one. I'll quickly say or see what Berube said after the game. I don't know if he would have said anything, but Berube not happy with the Leafs back-to-back lack of play in the third periods. How do you change it going forward? I talked to the team after the game. Our leaders got to take control of it a lot more than they are right now. To me, it's all a mindset. Whether you're down a goal or up a goal in the San Jose game, you just got to have more urgency and being more direct with how we want to play. We didn't do it in the third period 2 games in a row. Ooh, Berube is getting spicy, calling out the big guys. Because the leadership core is Matthews, Tavares, Riley, Nylander, I guess. He's calling out the big boys. Interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. All right. So that's going to be interesting to watch over the next few days. So that's going to be it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Remember to hit like or subscribe to actually do both, to Game Over Toronto. And I will see you. Who do they even play next? Who do the Leafs play next? We've got Tuesday against the Blackhawks. All right, so I'll see you guys Tuesday night after that Chicago game. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for the show. Thanks for being here, Luke. Appreciate it. So I'll see you guys then. Enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a good one, everyone. Cheers.